why would this mechanism be there just waiting a couple 100,000 years until the other one appears by another random mutation? Difficult issues, difficult questions, okay? So let me give you an example of the statistical probability we are facing when dealing with these random genetic mutations. I'm taking this from the examples that some authors give. Imagine that you cut out all of the letters of a book one by one and put them in a bag, mix them up, throw the bag open, and expect those letters to fall in exactly the same order as they were in the book. So you can go page by page and read the book now on the floor. How likely is that to happen? Very unlikely. Is it impossible? No, it's not impossible. It's just very unlikely. Well, that's the kind of likelihood we're looking at. Let's say Chris wins the lottery this weekend, the lotto, and he wins it again next weekend, and the following, and so on for a few more weekends. Is that possible? Yes, it is. How statistically probable is it? Huh? Very, very unlikely. Well, this is the kind of thing we get in evolutionary theory. Now, let me tell you this. If Chris were to win the lottery, not 10 weeks in a row, or 5, or even 4, or even 3, but just 2 weeks in a row, I tell you, the FBI would be all over him. The whole lottery system might probably be stopped and revised. And if he were to win it 3 times in a row, 4 times in a row, I mean, I'd believe in witchcraft. Anything would take, I would and you would, anyone. Well, what we've been getting in evolutionary theory with evolutionary thinkers is, well, yes, I know it's unlikely, but look, here are the winning tickets from last week and 2 weeks ago and 3 weeks ago. Look at the numbers. No cheating, no foul play. The lottery system has been revised. He just keeps winning the lottery week after week for 10 weeks. And you go, but that seems incredible. What do you mean incredible? Here are the tickets. Look, this week's, last week's, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, Chris, week after week. You don't believe it? Well, sorry, you have the evidence. Look at it. Well, sorry, it's still incredible. Okay? Fred Hoyle, of all people, has made this point. Okay? Remember, mathematician, Cambridge University, evolutionary thinker, militant atheist. He died a few years ago. In about the year 2000, or 2001, I'm not sure, around that year, he published a book, difficult to find today, gone, all editions were gone right away, called Mathematics of Evolution. Mathematics of Evolution. In which he claims, I don't understand a word of it. I have a copy of it, but it's all sheer mathematics. But I can read the introduction and the conclusion. And basically, what he says is the evolutionary theory as it is not possible. There hasn't been enough time for this incredible chain of coincidences to happen and randomly, essentially in an essentially random way, give rise to the world as it is. It just hasn't been enough time. There is not enough time for that. And if people realize what we are trying to make them believe, they're going to refuse to believe it, and this is going to play in favor of religion. So we need to change, we need to revise evolutionary theory, because as it is incredible. And if people realize what we are saying, they're just going to turn their backs on us and go back to religion. That's his point. Evolutionary thinker, mathematician, top mathematician, atheistic. He says, evolutionary theory as it is, it doesn't work. Because when you tell people, as I told you, this kind of incredible coincidence, no matter how much evidence you show, people are going to say, that's not possible. It just can't happen. I mean, for that to happen, I mean, we said there's a possibility, but for that to happen, we would need zillions of zillions of zillions of zillions of zillions of zillions of years. Many more times that the universe has been in existence to even think of those incredible coincidences happening one after the other and accumulating to give rise to this just by chance. Okay, so that's the argument about evolution. Now, I mentioned last time Freudian psychoanalysis, and I said there was a danger with Freudian psychoanalysis because it is such a catchy theory, remember? I would say the same about evolutionary theory and about Marxism. These were three great theories of the 19th century that have had a tremendous influence throughout the 20th century, through the whole 20th century. And their influence hasn't always been that positive. Part of the problem is that these theories are so catchy. Of all these theories, I have no doubt in my mind that Darwinian evolutionary theory has been the most influential and the one which eventually, regardless of its scientific merits, which I completely and fully acknowledge, besides and despite that, the one that most harm has caused in society, of the misunderstanding of this theory, I should say. As I said, with Freudian psychoanalysis, all you need is to read just half a page by Freud, and you become a psychoanalyst yourself, right? It's so easy. Now you understand all the twists and turns of the human mind, and you can put the blame for everything on anyone now, because you can go now. If you have a headache today, it must be because when you were little, as this older guy kicked your shoulder, and now it's coming up, and you can put the blame for everything on other people. A lovely thing. You don't need to read a lot of Freud. You can read his fairy tales and stuff, or you don't need to. You can just imagine them, and you become a psychoanalyst ipso facto right away, just by reading half a page. It's a problem with that. With Marxism, the same. You learn the basics of Marxism. There's always a class struggle between the oppressors and the oppressed will eventually rebel and create this new class, which eventually will oppress another class, which will rebel against the oppressed, and and there's always this dynamics, and eventually this dialectical process will end in a classless society. And it seems so simple. And the same with evolutionary theory. Once they told you that there is evolution between the apes and some common trunk for the apes and human beings, it's so visual. And we've all seen these posters in which you get the little monkey and then the other monkey and then the other monkey and then the Malibu surfer. It's like just 4 simple steps. They're all over the place. I think I have one here. You see? See the monkey, 4 monkeys, and then the Malibu surfer, just like that, all in just 3 simple steps. Well, sorry, it isn't that simple. But this misunderstanding, this thinking, now we know, now we've understood, now we've revealed the secret of it all. This self-deception has had terrible consequences for Western society. One of them has been what is called social Darwinism. Have you heard the expression before? Social Darwinism? Yes? It's an application of these Darwinian principles of evolution to social matters. The idea is, now we know how society proceeds, how it evolves, how it improves. Remember, the survival of the fittest. That was the original idea, okay? So what is our duty as rational beings? To cooperate with nature in that process. How do we cooperate? We get rid of the misfits and the lower races. So what is the superior race? Well, make your choice. German, tall, blonde, blah, 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 whatever. So that's where evolution is leading to this superior race. Let's have these superior individuals mate with each other, and let's get rid of the inferior races and the misfits. Let's cooperate with nature. There you have Nazism. Now you may think that Nazism was something weird that happened out of the blue in Europe, and that these guys were crazy and Hitler was crazy. Well, he was crazy, but it wasn't anything too new. Believe it or not, the ideas of Nazism, this social Darwinism that underlies Nazi ideology, was pervasive in this country too, in the US, and all over Western Europe. Handicapped people, people who were considered misfits, were being sterilized, put away in institutions, used for experimentation, up down to the 1960s, okay? So what Hitler did was, he just was more proactive, so to say. Rather than not permitting those misfits to reproduce, we'll just annihilate them, we'll kill them, we'll get rid of them actively. We'll make this cooperation with nature even more active, more proactive, faster. So the Nazi ideas did not arise out of the blue. Those ideas were rooted back then in the whole of the Western world. And the root of those ideas was Darwinian theory, or a partial understanding of Darwinian theory. And in the case of Marx, Karl Marx, even his theory is an application of Darwinian principles to society, to the evolution of society, because Marxism is about the evolution of society towards this classless society. And you know what? Marx, whose work, The Capital, was published about 10 years after Darwin's The Origin of Species, requested permission from Darwin to have his work, The Capital, dedicated to him, because he so admired Darwin. And Darwin declined. But obviously he was enthusiastic about Darwin. Now we don't need God, he thought, like many people. That just with evolutionary theory everything was clearly explained, no need for any outside forces, this kind of self-deception. Now, if you are a truly materialistic thinker, you have to be able to somehow give an answer to these problems, or be honest enough to say that you don't have one. Right? If you are a truly materialistic thinker, atheistic thinker, what you're saying is that the universe is all there is, and nothing but that, nothing but matter. And then you have to account for its existence in some way. Now, how do some people deal with this issue? Well, they talk about Mother Nature. Have you heard that expression before? How wise Mother Nature is? You heard that before? What is Mother Nature? Usually the people who talk about Mother Nature are those who deny the existence of God. Excuse me, what is Mother Nature? If you are a truly materialistic thinker, there is no Mother Nature. Either there is a father and we call him God, or there is no mother. I'm sorry. There is no Mother Nature. Nature is not there's no intelligence. But now you look at nature and you see such an intelligence at work that is amazing. So even though you say you're an atheistic thinker, wow, you look at it and it's just incredible how everything seems to be forethought and provided for and interacting in such an incredible way that you're bound to say, look at the wisdom of Mother Nature. No, sorry, there is no wisdom of Mother Nature. There's no wisdom, there's no mother of any kind. Either there is nothing, just a bunch of random events at work in there, or there is an intelligence, and religious people refer to them in the